Who has questions? I'm the moderator. I'm the director of the film, and the writer and the star, and also the moderator of the film. Go ahead. Who is? Go ahead.
What's long term for you and your disorder? Are they treatment helping?
Sure. The question is, what's long term the situation with my disorder? I am indeed in real life diagnosed with REM behavior disorder. The photos in the credits are real, as you might have guessed. They are not very well taken. They're not very well shot or lit, but that was me in my first sleep study with all the electrodes all over my body. REM behavior disorder is not cured. It is just, you know, a medical doctor did tell me to sleep in a sleeping bag and wear mittens. That happened. And I thought, when that happened, I cannot wait to tell people about that. Because that is the funniest thing I've ever heard any medical doctor say. I just pulled out my notepad in the middle of that doctor session and said, "Excuse me just a moment, I'm writing something that's brilliant." There's no cure, and you know, it's just something that I have to deal with, and my wife and I have to deal with, and it's not easy. And the doctor, as you might know, Stanford does a lot of the leading research in this department and in this field. And Dr. Dement, who is himself in the movie, do you guys recognize Dr. Dement? Because he's from here. And if anyone ever went to Stanford, that's not really a great sentence construction, because yes, people did ever go to Stanford. If anyone in the audience ever attended Stanford, you might know that he, I guess, drives around on a golf cart on campus. You can spot him. He's often just milling about on his golf cart. But yeah, so go ahead.
That last shot of you in bed with the mittens on and the sleeping bag.
Yeah.
Were you really asleep or were you acting?
I've done 39 Q&As in the last week and a half, and that is single-handedly the worst question I've ever seen. The question was, in the final shot where you're in the sleeping bag and mittens, were you actually asleep or were you just acting? That was the question. The question is getting so much laughter on its own that I'm not even going to answer it. No, I was not asleep. We were shooting a film. I was the director. If I had been asleep while directing, that would have been an extremely cautionary tale. That is more cautionary than the film itself. Go ahead.
Okay, two questions. They're related. But did you ever actually sleep in the sleeping bag? And two, when you're dating, how did you introduce that into relationship?
There are two questions. The first is, do you actually sleep in a sleeping bag? Yes. We covered that. I don't, although I don't wear the mittens because they're too hot and they're uncomfortable. And when I was dating, that was, I don't think I ever did. No, I was with, the little bit of the chronology is fudged. So the breakup that occurs in the film in real life happened before the jumping through the window, similar to the stage play, which you guys might have heard. Did anyone see the one-man show version of it? Okay, so a few people did. And it's an album now, if you wanted to listen to Sleepwalk with me live. Yeah, so I was with my wife now when this all went down, and so she was with me through it. But that would be a strange thing to introduce into a relationship, but I've heard of stranger things being introduced example, did you ever see the This American Life TV episode about the guy Mike who has locked-in syndrome? Or is it called locked-in syndrome? He can't move or speak, and he has a girlfriend. And it's really compelling. It's like a really compelling relationship to watch. I won't tell you the twist of the piece, but it's a true story, and I won't tell you the twist of it, but it's, has anyone seen it? Yeah. This American Life Showtime series, TV series. That wasn't on the radio, no. Yeah, you should look that up. That won an Emmy, that episode. It's really extraordinary. So anyway, the point of my digression was that you can figure something out no matter what is wrong with you, I think. Go ahead.
How closely autobiographical is the movie? I mean, I just wonder about the whole development as a comedian. It makes it sound like it was well after college, which usually you're naturally funny. So I would imagine, like, since kindergarten, you would have kind of had routines. No?
The question is very convoluted. It has a lot of compliments, which are very nice, but there are so many questions in it. It is a maze, not unlike the Embarcadero Mall. But so to answer your question, I'll answer the broad question. How close to life is the story? I would say about 70% of it is accurate to what happened to me. The stage show was like 97%. It was like really close to what happened in my life. And then what happened is we were adapting it to screenplay form. You go through so many drafts and so many incarnations that you have to make cinematic changes because you have to tell a visual story. So if there's an emotional beat in the one-man show that doesn't translate visually, you got to figure something else out. You got to be like, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? And the what about this has led us away from sort of what happened, and that's why we ultimately changed the names of the character. If you don't know this, my name in real life is not Matt Pandemiglio. It's Mike Birbigila, and very different name. And Mark Maron plays a character named Mark Mulheron, which is obviously a very different name as well. So we meant to nod at the truth, but not claim to be the truth.
But you did actually tell a joke about the use of hazard long after it was good.
No one called on you. This is the second time from you that you have not been called on. But I did, and you're videoing this at the same time, by the way. She's I know, that's fine with me. She's literally speaking to me and going like this. With her phone, she is videoing this. No, but I did have in my act, you can read my book, and it's the A-Team joke, not Dukes of Hazzard. The A-Team joke was from my original act. The A-Team joke, Cookie Monster joke, Stick Insects joke, and the Panda Bears joke were all from my original act. The Panda Bears joke, in a better version of it, made it onto Two Drink Mike, my first album. Yeah, you did hear it. You did hear it in the scene where I talk about Ling Ling, the panda. I didn't finish it, yeah. This is getting way too interactive. I don't like how you guys feel a license by being closer to the stage to not raise your hand. But we're gonna go to some other people. This is becoming too private. Go ahead. You've been raising your hand for a while, I believe.
How does acting compare to stand-up?
How does acting compare to stand-up? I have not received that question in all the Q&As. Look at you, San Francisco people. You're so smart. You know you're smarter than other people. acting is not, I don't find it to be that different from stand-up comedy, and some reviewers would agree. No, my co-director and I, Seth Barish, we just very much, Seth is much more experienced than I am. He has a theater companies in New York City called the Barrow Group that he's had for about 30 years, and he wrote a book on acting, and he actually has this very firm philosophy of kind of non-acting acting, and I execute that. He directed both of my one-man shows, and he co-directed this, and I very much believe in that. The kinds of performances that I like and the ones that I encouraged with the actors in the film were just very loose, like as loose as it can be, as much like life as it can be. Like the kinds of films that I like are like Once, for example, is a great film for me because I never feel like anyone's putting on. You know, I never go, oh, right, they're doing a thing so that we'll feel this and blah, blah, blah. I never feel pushed. And I feel like that's the kind of acting I like, and some people agree. Go ahead.
How's it working with Ira Glass, and do you guys have plans to collaborate again?
The question was, how do you like working with Ira Glass, and do you have plans to collaborate again? Ira claims that I tricked him into producing this film. I don't see it that way. And when you ask him if he's going to produce another movie, he says no. He's wrong. We have every intention of I'm working on an adaptation right now of the one-man show that I'm touring with called My Girlfriend's Boyfriend that you might have seen because I was around here with it in the spring. I was in Santa Rosa. I was in, where else? I was in a lot of places. I mean, I did pieces of it at the Herbst Theater and at the Palace? Is that what it's called? Yeah, the Palace. Yeah, Palace of Fine Arts. Yeah. No, you're fine. You can actually the closest. I'm touring with My Girlfriend's Boyfriend right now. The closest we are to one of the locations is kind of far. It's like near. It's near Sacramento. Turlock, I think it's called. So we got one person coming to the Turlock, California show. How is that? It's like Turlock Performing Arts Center or something like that. Have you ever been there? No? Okay. Yeah, so anyway, I'm touring with My Girlfriend's Boyfriend. I'm working on a screen adaptation of that, and Ira will, I'm sure, produce that. Even though he says he will not. Go ahead.
Do you have a character based on your brother Joe in any of?
The question is, do you have a character based on your brother Joe in any of the things that you write? As a matter of fact, in the original one-man show, it was my brother Joe's wedding and not my sister Janet's wedding. And we changed it because there were so many, because the perspective on marriage was so dominated by me in the film that I felt like to have the kind of the counselor character in the film be another guy would actually not be good for calibrating the kind of marriage discussion. And so I was like, well, let's try and have it be a sister, have it be the sister giving me advice. And so we made Janet, we created the Janet character, and she's actually played by Kristen Milioti, who went on after we shot this film to be nominated for a Tony for starring in Once on Broadway. She's an incredible actress, and I think she does a really good job. She has a really, that scene I think is really kind of lovely. I think she's great in it. Go ahead.
How's your view on marriage evolved?
So the question is, how's your view on marriage evolved? And we lost that guy. That guy is out. He does not want to know the answer. And I'm going to blame the question. Well, I am married, so that's indicative of of something. But I actually talk about this in a piece I did on This American Life in an episode called Return to the Scene of the Crime, about how, and this is what my one-man show that I'm touring with right now is kind of about, which is essentially that I got married, and I still didn't believe in the idea of marriage, and I still don't, but I believe in Jenny, and I've given up on the idea of being right. So let's go with one final question. Everyone's hand went up at that moment. Here, but before we do that, take out your cameras or your phones, and what we'll do is we'll just do a little photo shoot of this going great. So. I don't know how much longer I can hold it. So one last question. You seem like you have who are you going to bring it home for us?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
With the film opening in wider and wider release, are you going to be banned from any hotels as a liability now?
That is the first time I've been asked that question. San Francisco is so strongly representing this evening. You've got like 80% new questions. That is, and they're not, no 2 parts. No 2 parts. They're not kind of like questions that show off how smart the questioner is. That would be in Berkeley. In Berkeley, that's what they do. Hey, I'm a jokester. Hey. So the answer is, I'm going to step into the light, and now I'm not in the light. So the answer is, am I a liability when I stay in hotels? It hasn't come up yet, but maybe. I do stay on the first floor of hotels, and that's real. That's like all too real. And one thing I never mentioned in the one-man show or the movie is that I did pay for the window. They made me pay for the window, and it was like $243, which begs the question: why do you have such cheap windows? Like, that's really inexpensive for a hotel window. Yeah, and I still have not spoken yet to La Quinta Inn about what happened, but we did shoot the film, as you can see, at La Quinta Inn, and they seem fine with it. It's actually like the ultimate example of any press is good press. It's like I went to your hotel, I had so much anxiety, I jumped through a window. And you still want to be in the movie? You want to be in the movie version of this? Yeah. This is a real close-up right here. I'm so glad that we have a video of this entire Q&A from 4 feet away. Well, thank you guys so much for coming out. I really appreciate it. And if you like the movie, tell your friends. If you don't, just don't talk about it. No one likes judgmental people.